Are you looking for a way to scale your short-term rental business and buy more properties? Well, co-hosting might be the right fit for you. Welcome to the Co-Host Coach podcast with Joe Roney. This episode of the Co-Host Coach is brought to you by Savvy STR Agents. If you're looking to buy a short-term rental, then contact the STR Savvy Agent team at savvy.realty.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Co-Host Coach. I am having my 1-year anniversary show today, and I am honored to have my mentor and a man who probably has no idea how much of an impact he's made on my life in the past 3 years, Mr. Bill Faeth. Welcome, welcome.
What's up, Joe? Thanks for having me on. I'm honored to be on your 100th episode.
It kind of was fitting because it was 3 years ago. Next Tuesday, September 9th, is when I closed on my first STR property, and at that time, I was searching for who I could get in a room with to be able to help me make an impact, because I knew it was something I really wanted to do. And listen to your one of your first podcasts, because your podcast was pretty new back then. And I just knew I resonate so much with what you were speaking that I knew I wanted to come to your boot camp and follow kind of what you're doing.
Well, you've done some good shit over the last 3 years too. I mean, you've changed your life.
I have, the accelerator program, the boot camp, everything that I learned from you and the super team has definitely put me in the position where I am today. I tell everyone all the time, don't do this alone. Find a Bill Faeth, find whoever's in your tribe and get them to help you get to that next level, because it's the easy button, right? To be able to scale.
It's funny. I post quite a bit on my Instagram, at least once a week, saying everybody needs a coach, and use my examples of like my snowboarding journey. I just fractured a rib. I've fractured 3 ribs since I started snowboarding. But you know what? That happened on my first day down in Chile. But by the 4th day, Bree and I tackled our first black diamond that we've ever done, right?
Yeah.
And if I didn't have a snowboard coach, I would probably still be on green runs as opposed to blues and Aspen and Big Sky and Whitefish and a black, down in Chile. And you jumped into the right program at the right time. We did the accelerator twice. Hard to wrangle those cats on my super team to, keep them together with Avery and Jeff and Ryan and everybody. Actually, 2 of them, Hodge and Ryan Baker, are flying here right now because I'm doing a mastermind fly fishing trip starting on Sunday. But I think it's one of the biggest mistakes that I see that people make in business, in life, is they don't seek out somebody to coach them that has already achieved what they're trying to achieve, whether it's snowboarding or golf or, kids' youth sports or co-hosting or investing, whatever it is. And it kind of pains me in the position that I'm in today because, I've got 34,000 people in my Facebook group, and I see so many of them making just bad mistakes that could be eliminated, and it's really, the cheat code to become successful faster.
It is. I tell everyone that I spent $6,500 to join your accelerator program at that time. And I'll be honest, we had just put all the money we had into our first investment property. We drained a lot of our savings. We weren't financially where we probably needed to be, but I believed in myself and I believed in what we were doing, and so did my wife. So we knew. And when we were at your boot camp and you were talking about the accelerator, I was like, we went to dinner that night and talked it over, and we both said, you know what? This is going to make us a little bit harder, and we're going to be eating some ramen noodles this winter and be a little bit tighter in our budget. But we really believe this is what's going to help us get to the level that we did. And I will tell you, I have made 30-fold that $6,500 because I joined that program.
And I think for everybody listening and watching out there, this isn't a sales pitch to join one of my programs. Just find somebody, whoever it is, right? I'll share a quick story with you. You probably don't know this. In 2015, I bought a book called Launch by Jeff Walker. Jeff Walker is the godfather of internet marketing, essentially, for coaches and everybody. He's taught everybody from Donald Miller at StoryBrand to Bill Faeth to Russell Brunson to Amy Porterfield, Stu McLaren. Anybody who's anybody has learned from Jeff Walker. I paid $19.99 for his book, read it on the way. I think I was flying to Salt Lake City for a limo thing. And I just started Limo University, right? Which is my first coaching deal that I did. I started in 2014 and I was struggling. And I immediately bought his course after reading his book for $2,500. Then, ironically, about a month and a half, 2 months after I paid $2,500 for his course, he was doing Product Launch Formula Live in Phoenix, kind of like you coming to my boot camp.
Yeah.
Spend $500, buy a ticket, go to his boot camp. I get there, I register. Hey, for an additional $500, you can become a VIP and you get this, that, and sit in front row. And okay, and here's another $500. So I'm in for a G there. And then I get invited at to the lunch after the middle of the first day of the VIP lunch. And it was 10 grand to join the mastermind. And at that time, 10 grand was probably to me like that 6,500 was to you.
Yeah.
Bria and I almost went bankrupt coming out of the Great Recession, combined with Nashville flood. Most people don't remember what happened when Nashville got flooded. And I joined the mastermind, which got me into a dinner that night. And at the dinner that night, his coaches are interviewing all of us. And I was one of 5 people that got invited to come to his house with a couple of his current mastermind members, not like mastermind members that I just joined, but who he's in a mastermind with.
Yeah.
And it was 25 grand. I had to call Bria and explained to her what I was about to do. She knew I was going to do it. I wasn't calling to ask permission.
Yeah.
But you know what I needed? I needed a debit card and 2 more credit cards to be able to afford. And it was probably one of the most embarrassing things that I've ever had to do, to walk up. I'll never forget her name. Her name was Elena. She was a young girl. And I said, hey, I want to take Jeff up on his invite, but I've got to break this up over 2 debit cards and 3 credit cards. Can you do that for me?
Yeah.
And I'm looking over my shoulder, hoping nobody's watching me go through this, right? And so I go, and 3 of us went. And it was Amy Porterfield, Stu McLaren, James Wedmore, Donald Miller. We're all there. They're all in this mastermind. And there was 5 of us that went. 3 of us got invited to join their mastermind, $100,000 a year. And I said yes. And they said, perfect. We'll have our team reach out to you. You'll just need to render payment within a week. And then in 3 weeks, we're going on our first trip. And all you have to do is get there with your airfare, because you're the one, you and the other 2 people are the one that are funding our meeting. So they did 3 meetings a year. They spent $100,000 each meeting. And the 3 of us got invited, and we got the access. I had to borrow money from my mother to be able to make that $100,000 payment. I've never said this publicly. This is in 2015. This is only, actually it was 2014, 11 years ago.
Yep.
And I'm still in that mastermind today. I've spent $1.1 million funding that mastermind. At that time, Joe, I was probably making $200,000 to $300,000 a year. I'm going to bust $5 million this year. And I do not say this to brag. I say this as a point for every one of your listeners that's listening, that needs you as their coach for co-hosting, that needs me or Mike Sjogren or whoever they align with, like you said, right? I was your guy. Whoever they align with, make that investment, because you're not investing into their fucking program. You're investing into yourself.
Yes. And
the ability to fast track is incredible. I think, well, I know you know Kirkland Powell in Nashville.
Yep.
Patrick Switek and I launched basically a virtual COO program that I had done in many other industries previously. And it's basically me and him on speed dial for people that are looking to scale quickly, co-hosting and property management. And we do a call once a month, but most importantly, they get all of our stuff, our systems, our, checklists, our contracts, and then we're on speed dial for text. It's a huge commitment for him and I.
Yep.
Kirkland Powell didn't even know that he wanted to be a co-host coming out of the STR Wealth Conference. He joined the program. And I'm like, what are you doing joining this program? He's like, I think I want to co-host. I want to help my parents or whatever. So what has that been? 2 months?
Yeah.
13 properties closed.
Yeah, that's huge.
13 properties in 2 months.
Yep.
The 13 all in Nashville. all averaging about between $120,000 to $140,000 a year in gross revenue. So that's about $25,000, $20,000 to $27,000. Let's call it $25,000 a property in commission.
Yeah.
I'm not real smart, but what is $25,000 times 13?
Yeah, it's about $300,000.
That's about $350,000 a year in income that he's just closed on in less than 2 months.
Yep. Which took me 2 years to do, but man, and I'm happy the way we did it, but Kirkland's awesome. And man, for him to go scale that, it tells you how quickly you can grow and grow in quality. One of the things that I resonated with you in the beginning was one of the first statements you ever said is, I hate people that talk about how many doors. I want the least amount of doors to make me the most amount of money. And that clicked, right? I was like, that makes way more sense. Like, why have 200 doors? Like, and I talked to people today and they're like, yeah, I got 100 doors or 200 doors. And I'm like, that sounds like a nightmare. Like, we're at.
You know what I say to them? I'll bet I make more fucking money than you do.
Exactly.
And I don't mean that from like an asshole standpoint. It's like, let me reframe your model. I have somebody that just joined the inner circle, Joe, right at the conference, and I'm retooling their portfolio. They have 127 properties, and I'm making more money off of the 13 properties that I co-host right now than they are with that many properties.
Yeah. I mean,
and they're beach properties. They're in your backyard, right? And your market. And they just, that mentality of number of units has got to go away. I lived that in the ground transportation space when I was the limo guy. It was, oh, how many vehicles do you have? How much iron are you slinging? Yep. I'm like, dude, I built a $10 million company with only 47 vehicles. Most people would have double the amount of vehicles that way, right? And because one of the things that I've always done is I've always charged premium rates. I charge it in the properties I own. I charge it with my co-hosting. I charge it with my coaching. Everything I've ever done, I wanted to be the Louis Vuitton or the Mercedes or the highest end, so I could have the least amount of input with the highest value, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, my 4 newest properties that I've brought on are going to do $1 million a year $1 million a year between the 4 properties. So $200,000 a year in or 100. Yeah. What is that? Yeah. $200,000 a year in 4 properties. Right. I mean, not many people can say they have 4 properties that'll make them $200,000 a year. And that's our target, right? We're not looking to grow our co-hosting business to 15 or 20 or 30. We're pumpkin planning. We're dropping those bottom and we're picking up a couple premium. And that's what I talk about a lot. And I got that because that's really one of the things that I resonated with you in the beginning was what you've been able to do with not having to overextend yourself on the amount of properties.
It's so important. I mean, it ties into what you really want in life, right? I know what you want. You want to spend more time with your wife. You want to spend more time with your daughter. You want to spend more time with family. It's the same thing that I want, right? So we all have the ability to architect that. And it's funny, the haters that are out there. Savannah, my social media manager, posted something on my Instagram about a week and a half ago about I netted $78,000 in July on my portfolio. And just it's all the haters that come in, oh, that's bullshit, or you got to have 200 properties to do that. And like, you don't. You just have to have the right ones. Just like you need everybody needs the right coach.
Yep.
Right? Like you might be the right coach for somebody and I might be the wrong coach, and it might be vice versa for somebody else. But you need the right properties too. And I'm going to encourage everybody that's listening, if you have 25 properties and you're not making $1 million a year net, your portfolio needs to change. And really what you should do, as you mentioned it, Joe, you should go buy the book, The Pumpkin Plan by Meaike and read it 5 times cover to cover, back to back to back, so you consume everything. And you'll have a mindset shift, right? And if you read that book in conjunction with the E-Myth, those 2 books should change the mindset of everybody that's been trying to acquire doors and really focus on profit and time.
I just finished the E-Myth Real Estate Agent for the 2nd time on the plane back from PCB yesterday, because I've read it 2 times now, because he's expanded into just having the original E-Myth, which I've read, to having it in specific areas. So maybe you need to write the E-Myth co-host short-term rental with him, because he's doing some collaboration, man. That'd be pretty awesome.
Right. Yeah. You know what? I might reach out to him about that. I've met him twice. I've had the privilege of meeting Michael twice. Meaike and I have become very good friends, actually, which is awesome. We're actually working on something together right now. I just respect the shit out of both of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and they change lives, and, reading books is, going back to when I had my lawn and landscape business. For the last 2 years of my landscape business, all I did is read and consume books, audible books, 40, 50, 60 a year constantly. While I was working, I was reading these books on how to get into this industry and what I wanted to do. And then podcasts, of course. But man, there's so much knowledge out there, and you don't need a college degree to do it. I'm like you. I didn't go to college. I got into the working world. I didn't go to college and drop out. I just didn't go to college. But there's so much opportunity in this world. You just have to, find the right people and read the right books to get your knowledge.
Yeah, the one piece of advice that I would give to anybody is find, like you said, I was your guy, right? Jeff Walker was my guy. And once I honed in on Jeff, even though I had access to the other people that were in that mastermind at that point, I stopped consuming the other stuff.
Yep.
Right. And I wanted to go all in on that, formula that he had created, if that makes sense to anybody. Right. So I think one of the biggest problems that we have with content consumption with TikTok and Instagram and the 60-second world that we live in today is we consume too much content from too many sources.
Yes.
Hone in on what you resonate with and what that outcome is, and pull that back in and go all in down one channel. And I'm not saying to stay in that lane for the rest of your life, but go all in and consume. And, like you come into the boot camp accelerator with me, I'm sure you've consumed a lot of other content from other coaches, other people, since then, and you should. But I think we just get so distracted with the amount of noise that's out there, and it becomes shiny key syndrome. It's squirrel, just people. It's very challenging if you don't get linearly focused in what you're trying to do.
Oh, I 100% agree. I mean, I've seen people come through your mastermind, my mastermind, other ones that, they're co-host this month, and then, oh, wait, I want to be a realtor next month. And then, oh, wait, I'm going to try this business and I'm going to try that. And they never they never put the effort in to be able to be successful in what they were initially going for, because they didn't set goals. They didn't write out that life plan. And that was in the accelerator program. That was the first time that my wife and I ever sat down and said, what does the next 3 years, what does the next 5 years, what does the next 10 years really look like? And we wrote that out together, and it completely changed the direction that we wanted to go, because we had a little more clarity. And we went all in on co-hosting, because we didn't have a ton of cash like, some other people do when they get into this space. We didn't have really high W-2s. We own a preschool, which is great, but a preschool is not a $1 million a year profit kind of business. And
that's a labor of love.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, we do $1 million in revenue, but after you pay all the teachers and everything else, it's not that much. So we had to do it a different way, and we're using that co-hosting business to grow our personal portfolio, which is what we wanted to do. So
I think most people that get into this industry too early, if they're not wealthy, like you were, like I was when we first started, they should be flipping and they should be co-hosting as opposed to buying short-term rental assets. There's no question.
Yep. So, I kind of want to shift gears a little bit, because one of the things that I get asked a lot, because we're pretty busy and people, pretty active on social media, but you are as well. What is a day in life of Bill Faeth? Because, you have 1,000 things that going on. You have multiple different businesses that you have. You're 50 times, on the mountains this past year, but there's only so many hours of the day. And I know you get up super early because you have that 5 a.m. club sometimes. But you're also, I'll message you late at night, and I'm getting that message late at night. Like, what's a day in life?
Well, I'll tell you, I woke up at 2:16 this morning. I had a car picking me up at 4:15. I red lighted my ribs for about 15, 20 minutes. I sauna'd for 20 minutes. I showered. I packed this morning. For your listeners probably don't know, I was out of the country for a week and just got back like 20 hours before I left this morning to fly to Montana. There really is not a typical day for me. A typical day, I guess, when I'm at home, is I wake up usually around 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock. I jog, either if I can get Bria to go with me that early, or I go down on my treadmill. We like to get outside. We have a park right behind us.
Yeah.
Then I'll come back, I'll red light therapy, I'll sauna. I kind of go through my morning routine. And then probably the most important thing for me is to be with my children before they go to school every single day, because I do travel so much. I want to be totally present. So that means this thing is nowhere to be found. It's put on the side. So my daughter leaves to go to school at 5 till 7 every morning. She drives herself now. So I used to have, my day officially doesn't start to where people can't fill up my calendar till 9 a.m. Right. So now it's Bria and Bill time from 7 until 8.
Yep.
Every single morning. And that is non-computer. That's you now with the weather's good. It's not hot as heck in Nashville. So we'll sit out on our back deck, drink a electrolyte water, whatever that is, and just chat about our lives or what we want to do or plan our next snowboarding trip or business or whatever it is. And we really try to not be about business. It's challenging, but at that time in the morning.
Yeah.
8 till 9 in the morning is my execution time from anything I could not get completed the day before or to kickstart my day, to take my priority list and actually execute. That's writing emails, that's filming reels for Savannah, videos, putting checklists together for inner circle members, whatever that is. Then at 9 o'clock, my calendar opens, and that's usually coaching call back, 20-minute coaching calls, 3 an hour from 9 till noon. Then from noon till 1, that time I have another hour blocked off on my calendar. Nobody can get in there from 8 to 9, from noon to 1, and then from 4 to 5. 4 to 5 is my shutdown. I always shut down work from 4 to 5 o'clock. Most of the time in between those time slots, I am either co-hosting coaching program at mastermind members, inner circle members, and then I have time slots for free pro bono coaching calls as well. That's what encompasses the majority of my day. Wednesday, all day, nobody has access to my calendar.
Yep.
That is Bria first, where I do my videos, podcasting, all that type of stuff on Wednesdays. And then Thursday afternoons is where I load up with coaching. I still coach in the limousine space. I still coach in the HVAC space. I've got my, my host academy that I do that day. It's usually inner circle that day. It's my LabX program. I do like 7 straight hours of coaching from 11 a.m. till 6 p.m. on Thursdays. And then I do a half a day on Friday, and at noon, that starts Faith Fridays with Bill and Bria, and that's from noon to 4 on Fridays. And that's the most important part of my routine and her routine during the week. Today's Friday, obviously, so I didn't get to do that with her. We did it yesterday. It was actually last night after because I had to do all the coaching stuff, even though I didn't get back.
Yeah.
Till yesterday. I did all my coaching stuff, and then we did Faith Friday last night. That is something that comes out of the life plan, as you remember.
Yep.
There's Roni, whatever day you and your wife are getting together every single week, you're auditing what's happened over the previous week and setting the priorities and goals for the next week tied into that life plan. That's pretty much standard day for me. After 5 o'clock, I try to shut it down and be present. It's hard because you probably know this. Most teenagers these days don't want to interact with their parents. They go to their room and do whatever.
Yep.
Ours is studying and doing flashcards and stuff like that. But it's very important for me, being an only child with no father growing up, that I want to have as many family dinners as we can. So the cool thing is our oldest daughter goes to school. She's only 15, 20 minutes away from us. So Fridays and Sundays are when we try to get together as a family, as long as we can pull her away from college.
Yep.
For whatever she has going on, to either have a family dinner or go and do something, together as a family. That's kind of traditionally what we do.
I think that's awesome. I mean, it's truly what most people get into this business for, is to be able to have that time with their family, to be able to have that extra time freedom to be able to do that stuff. And I will say I'm still waiting on that planner that's coming out from Build STR Wealth. But I've found another planner.
I had him at the conference. Didn't I give you one at the conference?
I did not get one at the conference. So yeah, I'll get it someday. But I use another planner, and I started using that after the accelerator program, and planning out my week and planning out my days and doing that stuff. And it's been life-changing because, similar to you, I have like 4 or 5 different businesses rolling between real estate and the daycare and everything else. And it's a lot every day. And a lot of people ask me the same thing, like, how do you get it all done in a day? And I know people ask the same thing about you, because and I know you do a lot of your own guest communication and you do a lot of,
I do all of it,
for 20 plus properties. So, I mean, that's huge. I mean, most people are like, I need a VA for this, I need a VA for that. And obviously we all have virtual assistants that help in certain parts of our lives, like doing your social media. You have an assistant that does that. But, I'm impressed with how much that you're able to have that work-life balance when it's all said and done.
There's a couple of things that go into that. So, I mean, text me as soon as we get off of this, you text me your address. I'm going to have Chris send you a planner tomorrow.
Okay.
There's one component in the planner, and one component that I borrowed from Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. And I'll start with Gary V. Gary V does 2-minute meetings. So I cut my hour-long coaching calls down to 20 minutes. And like, even so, like the free calls that I do, it's, if you book one, it says, Joe, be prepared. And when I jump on, it's no, oh, hey, how's the family or any, and there's no stories. Tell me, I want to know why you're calling ahead of time. I want to be prepared so I can best serve you. Let's get right into it. And you know what? When we have more time, we'll go over and catch up on the snowboarding and the family and the Missouri, the wine and all that type of stuff. Right. So straight to the point. I do 5-minute meetings outside of my 20-minute calls, which are really important for me. Right. And with my team, with Savannah, with Chris, I've got Caleb on my real estate team now with my other businesses, 5-minute calls. The second part of this in the planner, something that's really important, is there's 5 things that I rate myself on every single day from 1 to 10. So I can have self-accountability in how I executed every single day. And this isn't some vanity thing that goes on to Instagram or TikTok or whatever. It's just personal accountability. Because every day I have a plan of attack of what I'm going to do, right?
Yeah.
And it gets screwed up a lot of the times. Like, I was lucky today. I had 2 flights. Like, my plan is to work on these flights. I flew from Nashville to Chicago. I got 90 minutes. So I have 90 minutes worth of work planned once I get on that plane at 6 a.m. I've got 3.5 hours from Chicago to Kalispell. I had 2.5 hours worth of work planned, right? And then I had an hour that was just going to be for me, right? So all of those things come down to strategically architecting what we want to get out of our life. That's the part of the life plan. But then distilling that same mentality that we own everything that we do, and we have the ability to architect that outcome on a daily basis. That's really what that planner is for me. And I still use it every single day. I've had 3 versions of the planner. I built my first one in 2016. And I don't think I could live without it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I'm excited to get it. I've been using the Grant Cardone 10X for a couple of years now, which I like. And it definitely is, put me where I'm in a better place. But I'll definitely send you that text message. So, the one thing I really wanted to say that, and this is probably out of anyone that I talk to, and they ask me, what you're like and as a coach or, mentor or anything like that. And I say the same thing, is that you are the most genuine and sincere people, no matter who you're talking to, right? And I watch it at the STR Wealth Conference. You have a line of 50 people coming up to speak to you, and you truly wanted to give every single one of those people your undivided attention and help them in that little moment, whatever it was. And that's something that's also, one of the reasons why, I've really enjoyed, watching you and following you over the years. Even one of your first ever podcasts, when you said, I hate the term, what do you call it? Not an impersonator, but the, being, in the limelight, you're like, I hate that.
Like
part.
An influencer?
Yeah. I hate the word influencer. That was one of your first ever podcasts. He's like, I guess I'm an influencer, but I hate that word influencer. But you're truly genuine and sincere with anyone and everyone that comes up to a problem. And it's not some AI robot or a VA that's answering when somebody messages you on Instagram. It's you doing it, where there's other coaching programs out there that I know for a fact it's not that person. So I want to say thank you for that, because that's definitely been something that's really helped shape me and the kind of person that I want to be in this business.
I think there's 2 things behind that. One would be my mother and just how she raised me, along with my grandparents. But 2, I think it's really easy if somebody's looking for a coach or a mentor or whatever to tell if they really give a shit. Are they going to be available? Are they going to make time for you? I care. I wish I could do all of this for free, but it costs a lot of money to be able to reach this many people, right? And I kind of learned that from Tony Robbins via Dean Graziosi. There's the more money that I can make, the more I can reinvest. and the more people that I can help not make mistakes.
Yep.
Like B&B camp that I just announced yesterday. It's a $75,000 event last year that I didn't charge people to come to. I'm doing it for $100 now just because people no-showed and just so somebody doesn't get left out.
Yep.
But this year it's probably going to be about an $85,000-$90,000 event. And if you do the math, if I have 100 people paying $100, it's 10 grand. So, it's going to cost me $70,000 or $80,000 to put on this event. But I tell my inner circle, my mastermind people, hey, this isn't for you guys. I want new people to come that haven't been able to experience, what we put together. And I think a lot of that comes from my grandparents and my mother. They were all in education. I never got a degree. I was a college golf coach, one of the very few in the NCAA that never had a 4-year degree.
Yeah.
And I think that's just my way of being able to teach, and I do care. And if I didn't, I wouldn't do it.
Yep.
I can see I know the people that don't give a shit, that just want, your credit card, to make money. And I think it's pretty easy to see who those people are. But this is not an easy business to be in. It's very easy to make mistakes. I made a $126,000 mistake in my second STR investment. I don't want to see people do that. There's a lot of people that are putting all their eggs in this basket. And I don't think they should.
Yep.
But if they do, I want to give them the best opportunity to be successful.
Yep. I think that's been one of the hard things for me as a realtor is I tell people all the time, when they're not ready to buy and they're calling me, they're like, I want to buy this. This is what I'm going to do. I'm like, hold on, time out. Like, we need to really sit down and look at the numbers. We need to really understand, because I don't want in 6 months you to be like, Joe, I'm putting $4,000 out of my pocket every month on this mortgage payment because I bought the wrong property or whatever it may be. And it's the same thing, whether it be in co-hosting or whatever. And
they borrowed the $200,000 from their solo 401k to, be able to make the down payment.
Yeah.
That's what scares the shit out of me.
Yep. And I probably lose business because I tell people, whoa, you're not ready. Like, don't do this. Or they say, hey, I'm going to use my HELOC to buy a house. I'm like, no, don't use if you're going to do a BRRRR, that's fine, but don't use a HELOC for your down payment. Like, you're not going to make enough money to make your HELOC payment. Like, that's just not good business. And you've continuously, given people good advice, whether they like to hear it or not. Right. You're brutally honest. You don't have much of a filter, hence the name Bill Faeth Unfiltered in the podcast. Yeah. But I think that's why so many people respect you. It's why you had the biggest STR conference in the nation. It's why you have the biggest Facebook group. And I just love how much of an impact that you continue to make on people. You made a huge impact on my life. And so I just want to publicly say thank you so much. You probably didn't realize how much of an impact you made, but it has completely changed my life over the past 3 years. And I am forever grateful for that.
I really, really appreciate that, but it takes two to tango, my friend. I can help you, or the super team can help you, but you're still the one that has to execute every single day.
Yep.
And it's about what's inside. I think God gave me a gift to be able to help people extract what they don't believe in themselves, and that's the thing. For those of you that are listening, most of you won't make the investment. It's not because you don't believe in the thing you're buying, the course or the person or the coach or whatever. It's because you truly don't believe in yourself.
Yep.
Right. And you've got to believe in yourself. And that's something that was instilled in me at a young age. And if there's one thing that I have, it's confidence in everything that I do. You're never getting me on rails. I promise you that, ever. But, there's things that I will try when I know that I probably have no business doing it, but I'll do it with confidence and I'm going to attack it. You know what I mean? As opposed to go in passively.
Yes.
And that's one thing that I would just share with everybody. If you don't have to be an expert, but if you're going to go in, dive in. Do not just dip the big toe in to see if the water's warm, lukewarm, cold, hot. Just fucking dive off the high dive and figure out how to swim.
Yep. I just had the same conversation on the previous episode that I did with Austin Spitzenberger. We said, if a lot of people want to sit back and get all their processes in place and make sure they have everything. And if you want to be successful in business, you just got to jump. You got to take that leap and go all in, and you're going to make mistakes. You're going to figure things out along the way. One of the best podcasts that I listen to, is a guy named Meaike. It's called Inner Global Wealth, and he's really big on mindset. But one of the best episodes he had was, you got to buy your friends. and not meaning you got to go pay someone to be your friend, but you got to, invest in programs with people like you that are going.
You got to buy access.
Yep. You got to buy access.
I had to buy access.
Yep.
I mean, I paid Pace Morby $50K to come and speak at STR Wealth Conference this year. I didn't have to pay Pace. He would have came for free.
Yeah.
Right. Pace, I don't want to say Pace has changed my life in the 2 years that I've known him, but he has had a fundamental impact in my life.
Yep.
And it all came from inviting him to speak at the last STR Wealth Conference. I'm writing a children's book for parents with Daymond John. I paid Daymond $100,000 to come and speak at my conference. And I continued to invest into that relationship very strategically, right?
Yeah.
Cody Sanchez, have a relationship with her now.
Yep.
Communicating with her on every 2 weeks, right? And we're putting some stuff together. I had to pay $90,000 for her to come and speak.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with buying access to people that you want access to.
Nope. I mean, it's, when you had the co-host masterclass a couple months ago, I was like, that's a no-brainer. Like, I want to meet more people. I want to be in the room with you again, spend that weekend with you, which was amazing. And it wasn't even an expensive one, but it was definitely an impactful weekend to be able to come and spend that time. And, I know I didn't buy into your mastermind originally, but I'm probably going to be a mastermind member before you know it. So, because I truly
privileged to have you.
Truly enjoy, being in your network and everything that I've done. You, John Hodge, Ryan. Ryan's my CPA. I was in John Hodge's new house in PCB that he's building just yesterday morning. I was touring it and doing some video content before I flew home. And
nice.
Man, it's been unbelievable. And again, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on my 1-year episode and
congratulations on that.
Giving those tidbits to everyone, because you truly do make an impact, and really, really appreciative. So any parting words for the new co-hosts out there?
I would just say, stop getting ready to get ready and, start taking action. You don't need a contract. You don't need a PMS. You don't need any of that stuff. What you need is your first client. That's it. And, I believe the way to do that is, Joe, is become the celebrity, become that person of influence in one market. Stop chasing multiple markets.
Yes.
Go in and become the guy, the gal in one market. And, set a goal to get your first client in the next 30 days. I mean, Kirkland Powell just got 13 in less than 2 months. And he had no clue, no preparation at all. Didn't even have a contract, Joe, till probably gave him one like a week or 2 weeks ago. He went and got the clients first. Sales fix everything. If you can do that, you will have the resources, the access to Joe, to me, to our Facebook groups, whatever it is, to get all the stuff you need. Don't let that be your barrier.
I'm going to tell you a really quick story of how I got my first co-host client in PCB before I became the PCB guy. I had a client that I had cold called. His property was a 4-3, almost not golf front, but across the street with views. Amazing property, doing like $35,000 a year. Like, his property manager was awful. And I had cold called him and said, hey, I'm managing a property that's like 2 blocks further from the beach. It's only a 2-bedroom and I'm doing 65. Like, let's talk. And he called me back on a Saturday. He said, hey, I'm going to be at my property on Monday. He didn't know I didn't live in Panama City Beach.
Right.
He didn't know I live in city. He's like, I'm going to be in there Monday. Can you meet me at the house at 9 a.m.? Let's chat. And this is Saturday night. Last minute flights, $1,000 round trip. I'm like, I ain't doing that. Like, I'm just trying to get my first client. Got in my car, drove 13 hours one way, got a hotel room the night before, met him at his house 9 a.m., spent 2 hours with him, learned about him and his life and his family, and got in the car at 11 a.m., drove back home 13 hours, got home around midnight that next night. And that's how I got my first co-host client in PCB. Because, when you're getting that first client, you got to do what it takes. And it doesn't matter what it is, but, I wanted to get my foot in the door. And that was what I had to do at that time.
That's taking the 2 extra steps, my friend.
Yep. Everything that you preach right there. So,
Love it.
But again, thank you so much, Bill. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for joining me on my 1-year anniversary show. Until next week, I will see you then. Thanks again.